Field of Battle is a strategic tabletop wargame for 2 or more players. During the game, each player establishes and controls an army, represented on the tabletop by painted wooden blocks, each one representing a unit of soldiers fighting in rank and file. These armies then fight for dominance or to achieve strategic objectives by maneuvering units about the battlefield and engaging in combat. Field of Battle is a flexible and adaptable game that allows for play in several distinct ways. Players can choose their forces according to a point system, or randomize unit selection for more challenging and asymmetrical games. Players can choose or randomize both battlefield terrain and missions using the scenario cards provided. These cards even provide the option to incorporate weather conditions and chance events, ensuring that players are never short of strategic challenges. When mustering forces, players choose between cavalry, infantry, and artillery, all led by a smaller cavalry unit known as the command unit. Details of these units' movement, attack, defense, and charge bonuses are all given on the muster sheet. Each unit can also be upgraded, providing multiple variations to troops, and in this way provides the potential even for themed armies. Swords give a bonus to the attack. Shields increase defense but slow unit movement. Bows give range. Spears reduce the number of defense dice the defender can use, and skulls confer a bonus to a unit's leadership and charge range. Weapons can be used in combination to create flexible troops, or doubled to represent elite, veteran, or heavily armoured troops. Each army also carries into battle its standard, its bonus to ensure the unit who bears it will pass all of their combat leadership tests. Having already drawn a location card and set up the field of battle accordingly, players now draw a scenario card, agreeing how they will choose sides in advance. With the scenario card in play, player B deploys their forces first, followed by player A, who will take the first turn. Players choosing to do so may also place units in reserve, prolonging their deployment for the chance to outflank an enemy's army or even emerge behind their lines. Finally, cards detailing weather and other conditions can be played and their effects incorporated. Field of Battle also comes with 2 identical sets of battle cards. Battle cards provide a randomized dimension to gameplay, adding bonuses for players' own units or conferring penalties on their opponents. If used, they can be employed in 2 distinct ways: drafted singularly before each player's current turn, or drawn each time a threat token is received, and thereby mitigating the potential feeling of bad luck when it comes to rolling dice solely for combat. Each turn then consists of the following: rolling for reserves, rallying, move or maneuver, range combat, and melee combat. Rolling for reserves. At the beginning of each turn, with the exception of the first, players with reserves roll a d6 for each unit. Once all units have succeeded in rolling the amount they need, they can then be deployed. Rallying. Each time a unit is involved in combat, or acts in a way as to make it vulnerable, then it takes a threat token. Each time it does so, it must take a leadership test. If it fails that test, then the unit routs. Rallying gives routed units the chance to regroup, turn and face the enemy again. This requires that they take a leadership test according to the number of threat tokens they have. In the instance of 1 threat token, they must roll higher than a 2. For 2 threat tokens, they must roll higher than a 4. When a unit receives 3 threat tokens, it is considered broken and will flee until it has left the battlefield. Move or maneuver. In the movement phase, each unit can either move up to its full movement range, perform a full maneuver, or perform a partial maneuver and a partial move in accordance with its move rate. Units may also run. However, this will incur a threat token, as sprinting will deplete the unit of valuable energy it could otherwise use in combat. Units can also declare a charge. However, if the unit fails to reach their target, they will incur a threat token. Archers, if preparing to fire, forego their move and maneuver phase and declare that they are standing ready. Maneuvers. Units can wheel, pivoting up to 90 degrees. They can reface about their center to any direction. They can withdraw, which in these terms is to make a tactical retreat, and to move backwards at half move rate. This does not apply to cavalry. Or they can boost morale by attempting to remove a threat token on a d6 roll of 3 or higher. Artillery neither move or maneuver. Ranged combat. After all moves have been completed, ranged combat takes place for archers and artillery. Range is measured to the center of the enemy unit and must be within 45 degrees of ranged unit's front face. Also, lines must be drawn to corresponding corners. When engaging in combat, the attacker rolls dice equal to their combat value plus any modifiers they may have gained. The defender defends by doing the same. The highest dice are then compared in sequence. If the values on the defender's dice are equal to or greater than the corresponding values on the attacker's dice, then the defender has prevailed. If the values on the attacker's dice are higher than the corresponding values on the defender's dice, then the attacker wins. A threat token is placed on the defender's unit, and that unit must immediately take a leadership test. If the leadership test is passed, then the unit remains steadfast. If the leadership test is failed, then the unit turns and flees its full move plus its charge range. Melee combat. Melee combat is when units clash in hand-to-hand fighting. In the first instance, this is initiated as the result of one unit charging another. Combat then proceeds in the same way as ranged combat, with attackers and defenders comparing modified dice rolls to determine outcomes. Failures to defend result in the acquisition of a threat token, and in turn result in the subsequent leadership test. And in the relevant rule variation, a battle card is drawn by the defending player. If a defender is routed, the victorious units may attempt to pursue and run down their fleeing enemies, and thus remove them completely from the game. Players must take care when positioning and maneuvering troops, as fleeing units can destroy or be destroyed by their own side. Strategic advantage is also gained by flanking opponents. A successful charge will also confer a bonus to the attacker. Once victory conditions have been met, the game ends. With its modular terrain system, the battlefield can be set with almost endless variation. And whether you are playing field of battle for a quick skirmish, a pitched battle, or a chaining together scenarios to form a campaign, Field of Battle has enough content and flexibility to keep even the most hardened war game veterans coming back time and time again.